Omaha's news leader, chronicling the stories and people making a difference in our community. This is KETV Newswatch 7's Chronicle.
Good morning and welcome to KETV Newswatch 7's Chronicle. I'm Julie Cornell. Do you have a senior in your life? Have you noticed them feeling a little down lately? Well, this morning we're talking with experts about the senior loneliness epidemic. We'll also tell you how to spot signs of loneliness and what you can do to help your loved ones stay active and social. First, though, chronic loneliness is a growing problem for seniors, and it can be harmful emotionally and physically.
And people lose that sense of purpose, they lose their identity, and they basically then feel quote-unquote worthless. There's a direct link of increased risk of Alzheimer's and overt dementia in people that have less social contact.
1 in 3 seniors, they say that they have little to look forward to, and that's something that's pretty concerning to doctors because of the health issues that can go along with loneliness. Joining us this morning is Jennifer Knecht. She's the Vice President of Marketing and Sales for Emmanuel Communities. Jennifer, thanks so much for being here with us today.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
We talk about this being an epidemic. How serious is this?
This is extremely serious. And you know, loneliness is important to all generations, of course, but we focus primarily on seniors with this conversation because more than 43% of seniors today are lonely. And that number is expected to increase as we move into the future. And we're talking about folks who are very humble, very quiet about it. And so often we don't even know about it. This is a generation that's very, very quiet about it.
Right. They're not complaining. They're not asking for anything. So they're showing some outward signs probably that we should be picking up on, right?
You know, the biggest thing is we have to understand that loneliness is often perpetuated by some major life change, some major life event. So if I've recently retired, you know, you have your whole social circle and your sense of purpose in one way, and the next day you wake up and even though you might be sitting on a beach, you start to think, I've just lost all of my friends. When indeed that's not necessarily the case, but you do have to think about how you reinvent yourself or how you move into the next phase.
So this doesn't necessarily pertain to any one age group. You can be 65 and newly retired and lonely, or you can be 92, right?
Absolutely. You know, as we age, things start to ail us from a health perspective. So perhaps I've had some sort of recent health event and that's perpetuating loneliness for me. The important thing to remember about loneliness is it's not just a single point in time. It could be any instance that perpetuates the loneliness, and you kind of need to be aware of it because the longer it just is there, it's kind of like the old adage of a frog boiling in water. If you slowly turn up the heat on a frog, you know, they'll boil to death. But if it's just an immediate, like I jump into the water, they won't jump into boiling water. So it's the same thing with loneliness.
And I think it can come and go as well.
It can.
What is happening? Are folks finding themselves isolated because they've lost those work connections or those social connections?
You know, if I've just recently retired, maybe that's the case. It could be that I've lost a spouse of 50 years that was alongside me for all the different changes in life. It could be that I've lost my dog who was my companion or my cat who was my companion, and I'm just suddenly feeling completely isolated or more and more isolated. And the more and more feelings of isolation that we get, which is exactly what loneliness is, the more and more risk we have for having health ailments and major life things can happen at that point.
Right. So we're talking about these feelings of isolation and loneliness. What health risks are we talking about that are connected to that?
Well, loneliness has been linked to increases in heart disease, which is a big one for Americans. It's been linked to increases in dementia, even the onset of earlier onset dementia. It's been linked to, actually, it's said to have the same effect on our health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day.
Oh my gosh, being lonely.
Incredible.
Now, over at Emmanuel, you do something really interesting and helpful, and it's an assessment. Tell me about that.
Yes, so we partnered with a researcher on the West Coast who's researching loneliness and the different things you can do to of course, help your loneliness if you are indeed feeling lonely. We partnered with them and we have an online assessment at lonelinessassessment.org. It's geared toward either you as the person who might be feeling this or you may be concerned about somebody being lonely in your life. It takes less than 5 minutes online. It's a quick little assessment, and then we email out tips and tricks on how to get out of loneliness because that's the important thing. If you do identify that you are indeed lonely, there are ways out of loneliness.
Right. My grandma Cornell, I remember her having something to do every day of the week and some reason to put on lipstick and go out of the house. Like she volunteered Monday, she did this on Tuesday, like something every single day.
Yes.
That can be helpful as well, right? Like some place to go, something to do.
Absolutely. You know, there are ways in which to re-engage with different types of activities. So if I retire, I just need to find a different type of activity to fill my days. Maybe that's being with my grandkids more. Maybe that's visiting my friends more. Maybe that's getting to go on vacation more. Maybe it's whatever it is, but it's just about re-engaging in different ways. And exactly right, finding different sense of purpose so I don't feel like I'm all alone.
Right. Okay, how do you make the difference? How do you know whether it's just loneliness, not just loneliness, but loneliness or like a clinical depression?
Well, right. So if you're feeling like you've been lonely for a great deal of time, if it just seems to get bigger and bigger, then absolutely you need to reach out to a healthcare professional. There are many of them, and there's no challenge with that. You just need to take the quick first step forward and self-identify that way.
Right.
You know, sometimes loneliness is a much bigger thing than just an instant in time.
Sure.
Yes.
Sure. All right, I know that sometimes senior citizens, they don't want to talk about this. This is embarrassing to them. Maybe they feel bad about it. How do you start the conversation where, do you have enough going on in your life? Is there, are you interested in volunteering? Do you want to get a little job?
You know, sometimes it's about our friends and our family just gently nudging us to something new. What often helps cure loneliness is kind of just the step into a different thing. So maybe I just need to volunteer at the library, or I need to find another opportunity to volunteer somewhere else in the community where I'm having a sense of purpose, where I'm helping other human beings. And what we're talking about here really, and what Emmanuel's all about, is the sense of connection with other people.
That's what I was saying. The opposite of loneliness is connection. We're going to talk about that some more, so stay right here, Jennifer.
Excellent.
Still ahead this morning, the story of a woman trying to get out of her house and bring joy to other seniors. Plus, what you can do to make sure your loved one isn't feeling lonely. You're watching KETV Newswatch 7's Chronicle.